Okay, welcome back to Module 1.6, and our word for today is evaluate. And what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate a polynomial expression. So in math, the word evaluate has embedded in it the word value. So think about this in real life. When you place a value on your house, on a piece of jewelry, on your car, don't you place a number amount on it? So evaluate means to put a value on the expression, which means I'm looking for an answer that is a number. That's the first thing. Okay, when we evaluate, we find the value of the expression as a number. And we do this by doing two steps. We're going to do substitution, and then we're going to do our calculation. So I'll sing all the time, and I love to sing. It's easy to evaluate, just substitute and calculate. Sing with me. It's easy to evaluate, just substitute and calculate. So there's two steps to evaluating. First thing is doing substitution. Well, what does the word substitution means? Well, you all know what that means because you've all had in your past time at school a substitute teacher. Substitute means to replace. We do substitution every day in real life. I replace sugar with Splendor or Sweet and Low. That's a substitution. So when we substitute in algebra, what we're going to do is we're going to replace our variable, our letter, with a number. So the first step in evaluating is to do substitution, replacing your letter with your number. Okay? The second thing is then to do calculate, to do a calculation. Now, to do a calculation doesn't mean to pull out your calculator. You're going to find in algebra, your calculator is of very little use to you. In order to calculate, you have to follow order of operations. And you all may have heard the famous phrase, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P-E-M-D-A-S. Those are the 6 letters you need to know the order of operations. Okay, an operation is something you do to numbers. Okay, when you perform an operation, it does something to numbers. Your 4 basic operations from arithmetic are add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Then you have an exponent, which is also an operation. It does something to a number. And then you have the P. Now, I know most of you learned P means parenthesis, but that's not just what it means. P means to do anything inside a grouping symbol. So when my students say P, it means please do inside the grouping symbol. And we have many grouping symbols in math. Our basic one is parentheses because it holds numbers. Our other grouping symbol is a square bracket. Our third grouping symbol is an absolute value, the touchdown bars. And our last grouping symbol is a square root symbol, which is like a check mark. And throughout this course, we'll talk about those symbols, those operations. But just understand, calculate means follow the order of operations. So you have to follow, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You have to do what's inside a grouping symbol first. You have to do the exponent second. Then multiplication and division. Well, that's kind of tricky. Multiplication is not third and division's fourth. That's not how it works. I think of multiplication and division like mom and dad. Mom and dad in my world are equal. One is not better than the other. Therefore, in math, you don't do multiplication and then division. You do them in the order you read them. And in math, we read just like we read words. We read left to right. So if we were reading an algebra expression and division came first, we would do division first and then follow it by multiplication. The same thing with A and S, add and subtract. Adding is not more important than subtracting. You do them, they're equal. They go in the order you read left to right. So the calculate part means exactly what it says. We're going to work the calculation by hand following those order. If you do not follow that order, you are doing it incorrectly and you're going to be wrong. And just like in real life, if you don't follow the rules, there are consequences. We all know in real life, if we're driving, a red light means stop and a green light means go. And if you do not stop at a red light, there's going to be an accident. There's going to be a consequence. Well, the same is true in math. Many of you now probably have Facebook, and you see all the time people post those math expressions for you to work. And they're always saying people cannot get them right. Well, the reason why is because people are not following the order of operations. If everybody would just follow the order the way it says they have to be worked, we would never get the wrong answer. So today, to evaluate an algebra expression, I'm going to give you a number that's going to represent a letter. You're going to first replace that letter with the number. And then you're going to do the calculation following the order of operations. Okay, I'm going to see you in the next video, and we're actually going to do some.